I'm going to get down to introducing our class for today. Our class for today is about the knee, okay? And it's about making knees more comfortable. And we are coming at it, as we often do, a little bit backwards from what the general sense of things are. General sense of people when they approach a knee problem or issue is that they come at it from the front, right? The quadriceps, the kneecap, primarily, are the focus of most knee rehabilitation. What goes underappreciated in the world at large is that a big part of knee discomfort and knee pain and wear and tear and you name your issue that comes with the knee is largely due to either a traumatic injury, which there's not a lot we can do about, you can't make that not happen. The other thing is wear and tear. And the wear and tear happens much more dramatically when our biomechanics are off. If you look around in the world, you'll find a lot of people walk with their toes out, okay? That's automatically putting the strain on the knee. When you walk with your toes out and you land with your toes out, you're putting excessive rotational forces into the knee, right? You'll notice that some people walk and their leg goes across the midline. That's a lot of strain on the hip, pinching on the inside of the knee, strain on the outside of the knee. So a big part of what we're going to do today is focus on the back of your leg and the tracking of the knee, because it's the muscles in the back of the leg getting short, tight, and losing their range of motion that contributes to knee dysfunction. Okay. Oftentimes you have to fix structures in the front because they're where the damage has been done, but you got to break the cycle of the damage. So we're going to the back of the knee today. And as always, we start with an awakening the base period. So if everybody wants to find their solid surface and either lie face up or sit firmly in an erect position, now is the time to get there. All right, everybody's looking good. Right, when we're awakening the base today, I really want you to pay attention to the feet. I want, through the entire time of the session, if you can try to keep your big toe knuckle in contact with the floor. Tiffany's pointing it out right there. We want a light heel and a firm pressure on the inside first knuckle of the big toe. Okay, because that's going to be a running theme throughout this show, throughout class today. Everybody's taking a big breath in. Close your eyes and begin the exhale now. Outside of your feet and your big toe knuckle is light. I want you to slowly just put that big toe knuckle into contact with the floor. Feel the whole foot on the floor. As you look down your body line, your thighs are parallel to one another. They're not pointed out. They're not angled in. The breath is staying consistent and clean. As you relax even deeper with the rest of your body melting into the table. Okay, Sam, I'm assuming you just got that message too there. Breathing and releasing. Just pay a little bit of attention to chin to throat because that's always important too. Breathing and releasing. All right. And with one more big breath in, we will exhale and melt one last time into the table. All right, and then we'll do some butterflies, bicycles, shake that out, come on out of it. And in fact, after you do that, our first scheduled exercise of the day is bicycles. And we're going to use bicycles, going to pay a lot of attention into really getting them clean, nice, linear lines. Bicycles are a great exercise that you start to see where you're faltering. And then can correct it in the gait in the gait pattern. Sam is going to set up that video for us. And again, I want you to pay attention mostly to the linearity here. Right. We are into bicycles. Notice the seated knee pumps on the right. For some people, we tone down those bicycles a little bit. All right. Let's see if my voice is still working there. Feet, about hip width, their own feet's distance from the butt. Pelvic tilt and chin to throat. Watch these lines here. The legs, hip width apart, knee directly above the hip. If the leg was straight, the ankle would also be in that line. Starting with one leg, getting the feel for it. Notice the pointing of the toes toward the ceiling. And contrary to that, there's a flexing of the foot toward the body when the leg is down. Point, full flex. And notice that short range of motion. We don't let the knee fall way down. Right. And nice point there, getting that rhythm. Right. And really extend yourself at the end of that toward the ceiling to get as much of that hamstring stretching as possible. All right, then you combine both movements, and ultimately what we want to get to, everybody here knows the butterflies. Butterflies are always easy and relaxed. Bicycles don't get easy and relaxed until you can actually control them. But that is what we're shooting for. Slow to a stop, don't just end it quickly. All right, little look at knee pumps here, because for those of you that have difficulty lying down, or you might have some back pain related to doing bicycles, then knee pumps are a good alternative. There you go. Giving you little words on that there. Work at your own level. One of our important messages. Always work at your own level. Then they can be done in a standing position too, like marching. And we are going to have Tiffany demonstrate that for now. Later on, Tiffany will give us a demonstration of the standing knee pumps. For right now, though, we are going into our bicycles, and I'm going to hand off to Tiffany right now, and she's going to give us a live demo.
Hey guys, so you won't be able to see the top of my foot here, but just like you saw in the video, you're going to point at the top, you're going to flex down here, sort of do this motion. And I like how Mark always kind of describes it, you're like painting the ceiling with your toes. It really helps to like just direct it in the right direction. So I'm going to start with one leg here. I'm going to keep this one bent, start this one. You're bringing, and remember that alignment. I can give you another view in just a sec, but think about your knee and your shoulder. We don't want it out here. We don't want it in this way. That tends to happen a lot with people with knee issues. So that's really important here is the knee tracking. So just remember that term here. I'm going to paint the ceiling, flex it down, come back. Sort of work that and just like watch your own leg and see what it's doing. Is it contorting? Is it twisting? And as you get better with the tracking and feel like you're in line, you kind of speed it up and loosen up this way. This is when it's really getting to the eraser part of this. Try our other leg. Here. And your legs might be different. One leg might be fine. The other one might be flaring. And just really pay attention to what it's doing.
And this control comes from muscles of the inner thigh. So while I still have Tiffany here featured, I want to point out one thing, because this came out in a session just this morning, a private session, working on this movement with someone. And there's a full, when your knee is towards your shoulder, Tiffany, if you'll demo knee towards shoulder, notice how her foot is firmly flexed, okay? And then as she transitions out of that bent knee position, the ankle relaxes for a minute, just a brief second. And then as the knee begins to straighten again, that's when it re-engages in the pointing. And then as it comes down again, there's a second phase of relaxation prior to going back into flexion. So the full cycle is contract to flex, relax while extending, extend your extension actively, relax, and then force your flexion. So you extend your extension and force your flexion. How's that? Brand new, right off the presses. Extend your extension, flex your flexors.
See if I better do a back view this way.
She's going to give us a little headlong demo here, and then talk through it a little bit, and then she's going to give us some time.
Hard for me to see, but you guys can see, right? Okay, so same. This is, from my own perspective, and we've been told this is what is a little easier for people to see because you're looking at your own body this way. So yeah, the knee, shoulder, flexing, and then if your ankle's out this way, that means you're twisted. So you don't really want to see your foot. You just want to see your knee. Point it up. Just watch that tracking. Paint the ceiling. Chin the throat. Pelvic tilt.
And then you put it all together. All right, so I'm going to give everybody a minute to work with that a little bit. I noticed the only person I can really see today is Peter, and he's been working the whole time on it. So, and Peter, you've got a little bit of hamstring restriction there. So what I'd really like you to do is spend almost a whole 3 count just straightening the leg and letting that stretch in the hamstring happen. So stretch, 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 then come around. Okay, so stretch, 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 then let your leg fall. Let it fall. No. Forward, 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 forward. Now come around. There you go. Then up, and then down and around. All right, there you go. That's the flow. And try to get that with the other leg a little bit. Let's see how that looks on the other leg there, Peter. Okay, that time when you brought your leg up, your toes were pointed. Your foot should be relaxed so come off the floor there, put your foot back down, come up off the floor without having your toe pointed. There you go. Right, and then as you bring your knee back, that foot is flexing up toward the knee. And then as you go away, you point. That's it. Flex. I want to see that flex. No, you were not flexed. I saw the foot just as it flashed past. Pull your knee back. Pull your knee back. Flex that foot. Flex that foot back at you. There you go. Flex it hard. And then as you go to the ceiling, you point out. And then as you come down, you flex back. Okay, what we're doing here is we're cleaning up your kinetic chain, right? We have a kinetic chain. Our bodies are wired together kind of like machines. And when you make a machine initiate an action, the first lever moves, the second lever moves, the third lever moves, always synchronized each time, right? Our bodies are built that way. We have kinetic chains, right? As we're looking at Peter here doing this, his kinetic chain is interrupted. There are maladaptations in the system. And by relearning this pattern, you are essentially rewiring the brain functions that control your reflexive or unconscious movement patterns. All right. So that was a good dive into bicycle today. Thank you everybody for tolerating that. I know it gets a little deep sometimes, but when you go deep once, you walk away with more. All right. Next, we are going to move into our hamstring section of the show, because the hamstrings attaching directly in back of the knee have a lot of influence on the knee. The video we're showing you today is seated hamstring stretch. The video we're actually going to be working on is going to be a supine or lying down hamstring stretch. So don't feel the need to get up, to sit up, because we are actually going to be lying down. Let it roll, Sam. All the rules are basically the same though. And rule number one is you want that back straight and firm, and you want your pelvic tilt engaged. You want it to be relaxed, starting with your knee bent comfortably. Then straighten your leg into the stretch. If you can achieve 90 degrees at the hips, as she has right here, then you can move forward. In the case of lying on your back, you'd be pulling your leg back toward your head. Okay? Full 2 minutes. Again, we recommend a kitchen timer at home. Set it and forget it. If you are consciously thinking about it, you will not do as well. You won't last as long. You'll be distracted throughout. Watch how she wraps her hands on the rope here, and that the rope is choking her hand, not her fingers. It's much easier to hang on that way for a longer period of time. Get your fingers in there, they get all crunched and bitten, and you don't last very long. Right? Straighten to deepen the stretch of the knee, pivot forward from the hip to increase the stretch. Placement of your strap, very important for today's knee class. Having the strap up closer to the toes pulls on the calf more, and what we want to get the stretch on is the calf and the back of the knee. That is our target focus for today's stretch. All right, that's our seated hamstring stretch. Everybody else, we're going to be lying on your backs, and I'm going to hand over to Tiffany, and she's going to walk you through the setup.
All right, if you have a strap or towel, now's the time. If you are a little more tight, you want like a full length towel. I'm going to use a dish towel because I can really get that hamstring going here. Give you guys a sec to get set up. And just a little note on, or kind of reinforcing what Mark said, is that we are just going to try to place the strap in the middle of our foot and then maybe closer to the toes, but don't really go towards the heel because we're not really focusing on that part of the hamstring today. All right, let's see. Looks like we're getting set up. Okay, on your back, knees bent. Let's lift up one of our legs. Get our strap or towel around our foot. And we're going to pull this up. And as you do that and feel secure, you can straighten your other leg slowly. You'll feel a stretch kind of deep in there just by doing that. And like you saw in the video, a lot of the time you want to have a good grip here and see, you kind of will adjust as you go. So I'm pretty good right here. I'm going to get a little closer, but we don't want to be pulling our shoulders up like this. We just want to have enough slack to just pull with our biceps. And for now, I'm just going to have my knee bent and I'm going to pull my foot towards my head, keeping that alignment that we just kind of talked about with the bicycle. So watch where your knee is. If it's kind of twisted in, readjust. Make sure it's in line with your shoulder. Breathing into that, you can kind of keep pulling that leg that way, pulling it towards you, or you can kind of go back and, you know, this is my sciatica leg, so I kind of will mess with it both ways and what's comfortable for me. So right now, then I'll kind of just straighten a little bit and that's not as close to my head. I'm just kind of straightening that.
So today, I'm going to start a little bit here with some corrections of Tiffany, just because I got Tiffany and Peter, and Peter will benefit from my talk through with Tiffany, and then I'll go to him and correct the rest. Okay?
All right.
Let's have you extend that right leg out a little bit more and try to get it flatter to the floor. Yeah.
Okay.
And let's, as you pull down on your towel, let your elbows fall and your shoulders come to the mat first, and then go bicep.
Okay.
So picture in your mind's eye, you're just pulling your elbow to the floor, and it's going to be a little bit of bicep and a little bit of shoulder.
Like that?
Yeah, there you go. So let your wrist be straighter and kind of pull straight down to the floor with your elbows. There you go.
Okay.
How's that feeling? Little.
Good. I got a little shake going.
Okay. Shake is good. Shake is threshold.
Yeah.
And then you look like you're in a great place right there to start a slow extension, keeping the foot right where it is. No. Come back down. Keep the foot right where it is. So the foot's actually gonna kind of stay where it is, and the knee is gonna go away from you.
Yeah, that's as far as I can really go there.
That's your challenge point.
Yeah.
That's a great place to just be kind of pushing into. You want to find that spot where it's like, whoa, I don't know if I can do anymore. And,
yeah.
All right. I'm going to switch over to Peter now. And Peter, you're actually looking pretty great. Again, I would have you relax your wrist a little bit and pull straight down with your elbows. No, you don't have to release anything. There you go. And then right there, you look nice and tight. Slowly, in a 1, 2, 3 count, try to straighten that leg a little. Try to force it straight. There you go. Feel that stretch coming in there? Now, if you pull down on your toes a little bit, that's going to increase the stretch rate in the back of the knee. All right. That's looking good. Let's take a minute, switch legs so that everybody can get both sides. And then mosey on.
Slowly get out of that. Do some butterflies. Do a little bicycle in. Whew. All right, we'll get started here, and then we'll have Sam start our timer. We'll shoot for 90 seconds here.
Started.
Thanks, Sam.
Nice one, Tiff. Nice straightening there.
My better leg here. Not as shaky.
Peter, let's let your leg down just a little bit, right there, and then try to get it straight. Right where it is. Just work on straightening that knee. Right. Let it down. If you can't get it any straighter, let it down a little more and then try. Try to find the place where it will go straight. Yeah, a little lower, you're getting there. Now from there, if you spend the entire rest of the minute and a half straightening that knee, you might get straight in that position. So you're using your quadriceps to contract, and you're pushing your knee away from you with your own musculature. Excellent. Sam, where are we at?
30 seconds left.
All right, hard push for the finish. At threshold, working into it firmly but consciously.
Time's up.
All right.
90 seconds.
Everybody's going to butterfly out of that, do a few bicycles. And then when we stand up, Tiffany is going to show you that standing knee pump that I promised earlier. All right. So if everybody is up and got at their camera, got their screen, Tiff will go over that standing knee pump.
Okay, so same idea as our bicycle, but some of us might not be able to just get on the ground, or it might be more convenient for you if maybe you've been standing or sitting. You can either do the standing knee pump or the seated knee pump, whatever is easier for you. So same idea with the knee tracking, knees, hips, shoulders. Just going to slowly lift up and down. Sorry, my mat's in the way.
And she's very well practiced. For many of you, it's okay to grab onto something.
Yeah, I feel a little off balance, honestly. Maybe even hands on the hips might help.
Or a chair beside you, or if you're in the doorway, hand
Yeah,
any of those.
right. Maybe here.
Because the idea on knee pumps and butterflies and such is that you're relaxing. You're not, we want to get them to the point where they're not work so much.
Right.
There's a lot of this stuff, other stuff that we do is always going to be work.
All right, it's nice and loose. And also think about how your foot is landing. Is it landing softly or hard? You want to go for a little softer. Get a little bounce going. And then same thing if you're seated.
All right, well, since I promised that demo earlier, I did want to get to it there. But that brings us back down onto the floor for side double leg raise video. Now, those of you that have been coming regularly have seen side double leg raise before. Last time we went over it, we really focused the wobbly spot. Today, we're going to re-emphasize the wobbly spot a little bit, but we're really going to put the lion's share of the coaching today into getting the legs lifted and launched cleanly. And this is important because what we're doing is building the strength around the waist and the hips to control and initiate our motion in a cleaner manner, right? If those muscles aren't strong, we are making adaptations to it that will ultimately put stress in the knee. All right, Sam's going to roll us a video here. Side double leg raise.
Stop it.
Arm under the pillow supporting the head, straight line with the spines. We do like our straight lines here. Engage chin to throat, pelvic tilt, which gets us to that ever important straight line. Holding the legs firmly. Right, kicking the heels out. Again, working toward that straight line. You'll see her pelvic tilt come in here again. Right? A lot of people will say, straight lines, why do you need straight lines? You never do anything in life in straight lines. Agreed. But if you cannot, with your body, establish straight lines, you've got some fundamental maladaptations going on in there that need to be fixed that are presenting wear and tear to your body every single day. Okay, again, straight lines. Here we're going with the lift, right? Very important. Hold. Count your 3 counts. Lift in 3. Put it back down in 3. All while maintaining pelvic tilt and chin to throat. See, she's exhaling as she's lifting, holding it for 3. And as she comes down, it's 1, 2, 3. It's not blah, giving it all up at once. Right? You want to feel this in your waist, where her hand is holding there. In the waist, right there. Not so much in the hip. You'll also feel it in the lower inner thigh. Right? It's the lower inner thigh lifting that its own leg, and it's the waist tilting the pelvis to lift the upper leg. All right. And Tiffany, take it away.
All right. So first we're going to focus on the wobbly spot. So just for everyone's reference, find the crest of your hip, the top of your hip right here. And just walk your fingers down to find the next hard spot. That's your hip bone, and that's where you're going to be balancing on. So just kind of knock on that. Feel that there's a little bit of soft tissue in between that. You don't really want to be on that. You want to be on this bone here. Okay, so gonna lie on our side. Oh, pillow is handy too here. Putting our arm underneath and our head over. And like Mark said, we like those straight lines. So from your head to your shoulders, hips, knees, and ankles should be all in one kind of plane here. Chin to throat is on. And let's just find that wobbly spot. So just find that. And once you're on it, grab your waist. Let's just do some pelvic tilt here. We'll do 3. Pelvic tilt, 2, 3, and off, 2, 3. Hold it, 2, 3, and off, 2, 3. Feel how you kind of roll back and forth once you let go. Turn it on, stabilize, hold it, and off. And before we do some raises, I want to talk about our legs here, like where our feet are. So if your feet are in front of you, you are piking. If your feet are behind you, ooh, that hurts the back a little bit. You're arching. We don't want that. So get set up. Make sure those feet are just directly underneath and you're in this plane here. Chin to throat. But now, pelvic tilt is on the whole time. Hold your waist. Keep that pelvic tilt on. Squeeze your legs. Flex your feet. Raise it up. 2, 3, and down. And just to emphasize, while you do this, I'm going to go for 20. That you may roll forward, you may roll backward. That might mean that you're going too high. So just really focus on restabilizing. You can, once you're down at the bottom, really check yourself and just keep at it. So you can follow along with me. Mark's going to go into gallery coaching and we'll begin here. And you don't have to keep on to the pace, just really focus on your form here.
So as Tiffany gets going here, I'm just going to follow her for a minute because she's got a really nice pace going upward. You notice as she breaks off the ground, there's no wobble. There's no shudder through the system. It's not whoa, right? It's like a crane lifting, nice and slow. Then the crane puts it back down nice and slow. There's not a lot of jostling in between. That's what we're going for. I would rather see a 1-inch lift with no jostle and wobble than I would see a 5-inch lift that's all over the place. Okay, so Peter, I want you to just work on that first inch right now. Grip, tilt, up, no, you, right, as the trigger pulled, you wobbled on that one. So grip and hold, find the balance, and you want to be gripping yourself on that wobbly spot in a manner that you're comfortable when you try to lift the legs, it's not going to wobble. So really kind of firm things up and just try to break tension. That's it right there. That's all you need. Now, step back. You piked on that one too. Kick your heels out. Get nice and long. Set your pelvic tilt and your chin to throat. And don't even lift the legs. Just make them light. Right there. Boom. And then let them down. Without you jostled. Tighten, grip and hold, make them light, put them down without jostling. 3 of those and then try to make a bigger one. No jostling. Grip, lift, down. No jostle, no jostle. Oh, you're wobbling. Feel it? As long as you can feel the wobbling and the rocking back and forth, I'm happy. Because if you're feeling it and seeing it and trying to control it, you're getting stronger. And that's what it's all about. Right? Those big ones you were doing earlier had a lot of distortion in them, and they're not going to help with the control factor. They'll make you stronger. They won't give you control. All right, and I see Tiffany has rolled over to the other side, so Peter, why don't we do the same? A few butterflies in between won't hurt for you. And then off onto your side you go. All right, it's chin to throat. It's pelvic tilt. It's wobble back and forth and find that wobble spot and then get solid. And then take a deep breath in, grip everything, just make the legs light without wobbling. And then let them down without wobbling. Excellent. That was almost 100% transference from side one to side two. That's excellent. You transferred the skills and the control you learned from one side directly to the other on the very first rep. That is a beautiful thing. All right, we're going to give Peter time to do 4 or 5 more. I'm assuming everyone else has been following Tiffany and is well into their sets, which is what I have to do because I cannot see you.
And apologies to Tiffany. I accidentally muted you and it won't let me unmute you. So
When she rolls over, she can fix that. And now is probably a good time for that because we're going to go and get ourselves up. And all of this gripping and holding we just did in that side double leg raise is to prep us for the gripping and holding we're going to do in the next exercise, right? Side double leg raise was in there specifically because of its inner thigh activation and the way it activates your waist and your pelvic tilt for control. All right. And Tiffany is still coming out of there. She's doing her butterflies and bicycles like a good student. And
All right.
we are going to watch a walking person video, okay? This is a very small, subtle movement. It's possibly the most difficult movement I teach in the introductory work that we do, and it's hard even to teach in person. But we are going to do our best here via cyber connection to do what we can. And Sam, you can roll that when you're ready. Walking person. Okay, this is all about a counterbalance on one side to move the leg on the opposite side. Ankles, knees, and hips are in alignment. And you want to take the weight off the heels. The weight should be on the forefoot. First knuckle of the big toe being engaged. Don't want to roll to the outside of your feet on this. Engage your pelvic tilt and chin to throat. You got your lines. Knees slightly bent. Weight is still on the forefoot. Right? Still got that light quarters distance space below the foot. If you want to practice that barefoot, that's a great way. Feel the pressure. Gripping and holding. That standing leg is gripping and holding, counterbalancing through the right arm. We will be moving the left leg just a little bit like that. Okay? And we're trying to do this with as little lateral distortion as possible. Right? We're trying to grip and hold ourselves right in place and move only our leg. Okay? It's great practice if you put yourself in front of a mirror and it splits your image of yourself. You can see your head and shoulders drift into and out of the mirror, or possibly your hips shift into and out of the mirror. Very short step, very important. You notice she's only stepping toe to instep, not stepping out beyond her heel. Okay? And it's a very slow and go grip type of exercise. And with that, I am going to show you a quick demonstration about gripping the leg. Okay, I'm going to use my arm here. Okay, I want you all to imagine that my arm is a thigh. Okay, and when I make a fist, it contracts all of the muscles all the way around my arm. Right, muscles contracting here, my wrist isn't flexing. Muscles contracting here. My wrist isn't flexing, it's staying neutral on the wrist, right? You're keeping your body neutral above your hips while you squeeze your thighs. right? You should be able to put your hand on your inner thigh and push your fingers out. And I'm going to throw back to Tiff. She's going to give us a little demonstration of what we're talking about here.
All right, so the gripping and holding we're talking about, you could take your own hand, kind of dig it into your inner thigh muscles here and find them. And those are the muscles that are going to keep you stabilized throughout this exercise. So try to push them out. It's really hard. Sometimes I can't really get it. Oh, you can see a little bit. But the whole leg is just tightening up, just like Mark was showing us.
Hamstrings, quadriceps, inner thigh, and hip all cinching together at once.
Yeah, all here. So without that, you're not doing much, you know. You gotta grip it. I'll show you a little bit here, this lower view, because the feet are really what's important. Is you're using your counterbalance. You are sort of in the skier position. Lean on the weight is on your front foot. And I'm gonna squeeze this leg back. Just a little tap.
That's great. Can you turn and give us a front-facing version of that?
Gripping this whole leg here. Pelvic tilt is on. Feet are hip width apart. Oh, that was a little big there.
You notice she's not twisting and she's not shifting side to side, okay? For most of you doing this the first time, your first thought is going to be, that's freaking impossible.
It's really hard.
Most people's first opinion is, but it is not impossible, I promise you. So let's, Tiffany's going to give us a little bit more of a full view of herself while I go into the gallery and take a look at some things. All
I'm
right.
going to go for 15, starting with the left leg moving. So your right arm is up. Your right side is really tight.
And if you, while she's doing her 15, if you have to stop and shake it out and kind of start over and reset yourself, that's cool.
Yeah, you can always use some knee pumps in between. Sort of shake, roll your shoulders a little bit. Get back into it.
Peter, since you are my willing volunteer today, is it possible that you could move your camera back a little bit so I can see some more of you? Thank you. We'll focus this top half first. Okay, so let's go ahead and get that hand up and out in front of you. You want it right out in front of you, not off to the side. Right, coming straight out of the shoulder, up beside your face. Your bicep should be in pretty close to your face. Good. And then you're going to reach those fingers for infinity and lean forward just a little bit, getting the weight up on the toes. Right? So you're establishing that position. In dynamic balance, we call it ski jumper position. Right? This is standing straight and flat. Ski jumper is just shifting a little bit forward. Right? Like you're about to, boom, just pop off a ski jump. All right? And then, reaching for infinity, you're going to grip your leg. And I'm going to break you out of your hand being up. I'm going to have you put your hands around your thigh. And if everybody at home would do this for me too, that would be great. Reach down, put your hands around your thigh, and just pulse your thigh. Squeeze your thigh. Try to get those inner muscles active. Like, so you push your fingers into them, they're soft, and then you squeeze them and they tighten up. Okay? That's the kind of as close as I can get you through on this from this distance. More will come to me as we go on. But I'm going to assume you felt some of that. Yes? Thumbs up for yes. Peter? You're feeling that inner thigh? Okay, you're muted so I can't hear you. That's why I asked for the thumbs. You don't have to.
I can feel the whole leg tensing.
Okay,
The whole thigh tensing.
so now what you want to do is stand and get your arm out and get the leg on the same side of the arm really tensed. Feel that foot on the floor and then give me that grip of the thigh and then move your foot.
The other foot?
The opposite foot, yes. Arm is going to be up and out. There you go. Gripping the arm, gripping the shoulder. Pelvic tilt, connect the midsection into that gripped leg, and go. Good. And really, anybody can do this with a big amount of lateral shift. And when you start, you're going to have a big amount of lateral shift, right? The hips are going to be wonky, the shoulders will be wonky, but the work is to tighten it up and to limit and eliminate the lateral shift. Okay?
I'm confused. It feels like I'm tensing one side, but you're asking me to walk on both sides.
No, we're only moving one leg. You're standing firmly on the tensed leg, and so my right leg right now is my tensed leg, gripping and holding, and my left leg is as relaxed as possible, and I just shift my foot back an inch or two, and then bring it forward again.
So the shift of you're actually walking backwards with the other foot.
Correct. You're moving your free leg backward just a few inches, and that articulation is coming from the hip.
Okay, and then you adjust by bringing your tense leg back.
So yeah, let's feature Tiffany for a minute and see if I can walk her through a demo on this.
Yeah, what, do you want profile or you want?
You're good right where you are.
Okay.
So reach down, put your hands on your couch. Stand and grip on your right leg. And then just let your left leg freely swing at the hip. Just back and let it just swing like a pendulum. Not big, just little swing.
Like this,
Yeah, hard to describe. I wasn't sure if I did.
just like this.
So, kind of like this, grip the standing leg, right? That's my standing leg I'm gripping. And then just kind of let the leg freely move. Because that's really all you're doing is that small of a movement. You're standing and gripping and holding, and then just moving the one leg.
Are you creating elevation with your tense leg?
Yes, by keeping your heels light and the weight on your forefoot. Arm's got to be up. Without the arm, you cannot control the lateral shift. Okay, let's take a minute and point your camera down to the floor, see what's happening there. And then we will move out of this and call it introduction number 1. Turn a little bit sideways for me. A little bit further away from the camera by a step. Perfect. Feet are straight ahead and parallel. Gripping and holding on the left leg, soft knee. You're going to move the right foot just a little bit. Good, and back. Now feel how you let your weight lean left, then you moved your foot, then your foot came back and you leaned back to the right. Try to do the same thing without the lean. Okay. Let your heel lift a little bit more. You don't have to pick up your toes on this so much. You kind of just let the toes do a flat slide. So grip on the right, bend the right knee a little bit, get your pelvic tilt, weight is on the forefoot, lift the right heel just a tad. Sorry. One of us is confused. I want you to stand on your left leg. Left leg is your holding leg. Left arm is up. There you go. Grip and hold that leg. Bend that knee a little bit. Now get the heel light. Let a quarter space come under the heel. Put the weight on the forefoot. Right foot is perfect right now. Just slide it back a little. Back, touch, back, forward. Okay? We have work to do on that, my friend. And we will. My first bit of homework I would give you for that, and I'll give it to everybody. I want you to take your shoes off, stand in your stocking feet, put a quarter under each heel, and practice standing on the front of your feet so that you can feel the quarter, but not be putting pressure on the quarter. Okay? That's the challenge homework for the day. Standing on your forefoot with a quarter under your heel, and you want to be able to feel the lightest bit of the edge of the quarter without putting weight on it. Okay? That's our homework on that. And that will make everybody a little bit better and walking person, just doing that once a day. All right. And next, that was our hard work section of the class today. Now we're going to move on to relaxing out of it a little bit. We're going to do a calf stretch. Sam's going to cue that up for us. Roll through calf stretch. All right, see she puts her foot back. Lines are straight. She is mostly relaxed except for the effort that it takes to keep the line straight. And then you lean into it. Right, driving the heel toward the floor, maintaining the effort for 2 full minutes. If you put a little something under your toes, something like a book or a 2x4, something like that, it will focus the back of the calf and leg a little bit more. Tiffany's going to go set up herself in calf stretch for us for a demo there, and we'll just walk through this on each side. Sam, we'll do 60 seconds each side here as we're kind of coming to a close, and we'll mark on Tiffany's setup.
All right, so find either a doorway or a free wall you could put your hands on. Ideally, you'd want your hands to be right underneath your shoulders as if you were like doing a push-up on the wall. And we're going to split our feet, keep our feet aligned here. So our second toe should be parallel to the other second toe facing the wall. And I tend to bow backwards a little bit. You don't want to do that. You really want to keep this whole line here. Straight again, straight through. So you're going to bend this front knee and keep your chin to throat, your pelvic tilt, watch those hips, and start to feel that calf stretch. And the mark will help me because this is a tough one to know if I'm arching or if I'm bowing.
Let's pick up with watch those hips. What she meant is level and square with the hips. She's 99% there. She can bring the right hip forward a little more, I think.
There
Right.
we go.
That little bit of correction probably just put some more stretch into that calf.
It really did. These calves are tight.
And she's driving that heel through the floor. Sam, where are we on time?
44, 45, 46.
Great.
All right. You can always kind of inch that back leg back to feel more stretch, or you can also bend your elbows, but sometimes you're at a certain point where your head is almost at the wall.
And
So
at that
scoot.
point, slide your foot.
That's a minute right there.
All right, shake that out. Little foot shake, and we'll switch right into the other side.
Little knee pump and the foot shake like this, little ragdoll. All right, switch it up. Keep that alignment. Keep that pelvic tilt. Keep them square, up and down.
Sam, pause the timer for 1 second. I want to give everybody just a second to find something about 1 inch tall if they want. A book, a pillow, a board. Got a bookcase there, I noticed, Tiffany, is what gave me the idea. That bookcase in the other room.
And I'm like, what do I have here? 1 inch. Should do. Okay, what are we doing?
You're putting it down on the floor, and you're going to put your metatarsal arch on the book. No, not your heel, the front of your foot.
Oh, this.
The forward of the back foot.
Forward part of the back foot. Heel is
Ooh.
on the floor, book is under the toes. That's going to flex the foot up a little bit and focus the stretch more into the back of the knee, most likely.
Ooh, I can already feel it.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Starting timer.
All right, everybody, your timers are starting now. We're going to breathe, relax, set the pelvic tilt and chin to throat, and just drift in. We're not going to be arching our backs, right? We call this bowing. We call this piking. Don't bow, don't pike. Big 3 count breaths. Inhaling in 1, 2, 3, with a pause. Exhale, 2, 3. As you exhale, things release. As you inhale, you'll feel a little tension build. And you work that interplay between building tension and releasing tension to sneak in there and push a little harder.
There's a minute.
All right, shaking it, shaking that knee out, pumping those knees, or standing bicycles as we've highlighted today. Is there any questions or concerns? We've just did a really good job of promoting blood flow throughout the whole back of the leg, releasing tension from the back of the leg, and working on some gait corrective mechanisms there that are subtle but an excellent start. Again, I'm open for questions now. If there's anybody got something they want to know.
I was curious about the book part. So do you want to start with the book, or do you, how does that, get worked in?
Like if someone's really tight, they're probably going to get enough out of just trying to do the regular calf. As you can get your leg back to a further steeper angle, that's when you might shorten it, put the book under it, and start over.
Okay. So you wouldn't, like, you would go as far as you could and realize that, wow, I'm pretty flexible. I want more release.
Right.
So then you take it closer, put the book in. That adds its own.
And the higher the height, the more you need to shorten the stretch.
Okay.
All right. So congratulations, everyone. Thank you for coming. Remember, we got a lot of good stuff on social media. You can make yourself a workout every day just by going to our social media or our YouTube. This class every Wednesday. We have the one-on-one privates. We're planning more for you in the future. So remember, use this routine on a regular basis. It's going to be online for you. It helps with your kinetic hygiene. We will combat flare-ups. Great for a morning stretch. Great for interrupting things in the middle of the day after you've been sitting for a long time. Use them. You'll feel better. And with that, I'll see you next time. Over and out.